Hello everyone, I am Binju Joel. Today I would like to talk to you about certain steps that you can take if you're struggling with excessive body weight or if you're at a body weight level that's not comfortable to you. But before I go into further details, I would like to throw in a quick disclaimer that this video is for general information purposes only. Every patient is different, every human being is different, every clinical situation is different. So before you start a new diet or exercise program or do anything that can affect your health, you should check with your primary care provider and you may get some labs done like kidney functions, liver functions, etc. Make sure that before you go into a diet, all your blood work is within normal range, and if not, discuss that with your primary care provider. Again, now that that's done, I would like to talk about excessive body weight. When I say excessive body weight, I do not mean body mass index. Body mass index is not an indicator of your health. Body mass index is a weight that you see on a bathroom scale or in a doctor's office, and it's calculated as your weight in kilograms divided by height in meters square. Body mass index is not a direct indicator of adiposity or obesity or your health. So the first step you need to do is get your body composition done. See how much fat mass you have and how much lean body mass that includes your muscle mass done. So this is done by different methods. The body composition can be done by bioimpedance analysis, which is what we use in our office at Joel Wellness Clinic. Some obesity physicians use DEXA scan. There are also other methods of measuring your body composition by using MRI, 3D scanning, etc. But bioimpedance analysis is a very quick way of getting fat mass index, which is the actual indicator of your health and obesity. So first step is to get your body composition done. So now you got your body composition done and you know how much excess body fat you have and how much lean body mass you have. So what do you do next? The next step is to find out what to eat and what not to eat. So you need to make a list of good foods and bad foods. So one very good way of knowing the difference between good and bad food is knowing the glycemic index of the dietary item. What's glycemic index? Glycemic index is simply the measure of relative impact of carbohydrate containing food items on serum glucose after consuming them. So low glycemic index is 55 or less, medium is around 56 to 69, and high glycemic index is 70 or more. So the common dietary items that we consume, like potatoes, have a glycemic index of 102, which is very high. White bread and wheat bread both have glycemic index very close, around 100. So we can see that there's not much difference between white and wheat bread. On the other hand, if you take a whole grain bread, the glycemic index is much lower. White rice glycemic index varies between 72 and 100. Brown rice is much lower, close to 50. Basmati rice around 60. Table sugar, high glycemic index around 84. Bananas 88. Pancakes 119, and candy around 99. So we may want to use this as a measure, and you can easily find out the glycemic index of common dietary items by Googling them. So now I would say avoid dietary items that are high in glycemic index. But my principle is very low carbohydrate diet, less than 50 grams over 24 hours. Which leads to ketosis in the body. We will talk about ketosis another time. Most people know what a keto diet is nowadays. So I put patients on a very low carbohydrate, higher protein diet, calorie restricted diet. The calorie restriction is based on how much their basal metabolic rate is and how much their daily expenditure is. So I put patients on calorie restriction, 400 to 500 calories less than their daily expenditure plus their basal metabolic rate. So going into again glycemic index, so one banana is equal to 6 spoons of sugar. Did you know that? Whereas if you eat strawberries, so I'm talking about one serving of a fruit. Strawberry, one serving. I usually tell patients to take 3/4 cup of strawberry, which is one serving. Strawberries give us only sugar equivalent of less than half a spoon. So one slice of white bread is around 3.7 grams of sugar. One slice of whole wheat bread, 3 spoons of sugar. One potato, which is around 180 grams of serving, 180 grams, which is one serving, is around 8 to 9 grams of sugar. That's unbelievable. So now we talked about steps. First, getting a body composition done. Second thing, differentiating between good and bad foods. Bad foods are those with higher glycemic index, higher carbohydrate, those that give you a lot of calories. So now we know what bad foods and good foods are. Now, if you really want to have some starch, eat 2 slices of low carb bread or some keto bread. They all give net carbs around 0 to 5 grams. Or you can eat 1/3 cup. So 1 cup is my fist size. 1/3 is only 1/3 of my fist. So not that much. So you can eat that much of color rice, black or red or brown rice, or 2 low carb tortillas. One example is Mission low carb tortillas are very low in carbohydrates. So we talked about body composition. We talked about avoiding bad foods. Third step is drinking plenty of water. Everyone should drink 64 ounces of water. If you are in heart failure, please do check with your physician. So people in heart failure or kidney failure do have water restrictions. But if you don't have any of these things, you can drink 64 ounces of water. Adding 1 or 2 teaspoons of fresh lime juice to your water is very beneficial to your health. Lime or lemon juice is very anti-inflammatory, anti-aging, and may indirectly help with weight loss, and it prevents weight regain. The fourth step is intermittent fasting. I'm a big proponent of intermittent fasting. This is something anyone can easily do. 11 to 7 of eating or feeding, and 7 to 11, so 7 p.m. to 11 a.m. of fasting. During the fasting period, you can drink no calorie or minimal calorie items like tea with a tiny bit of cream, without sugar, of course, or coffee, black coffee, or a little bit of cream, or green tea. Some people like to do 10 to 6, or some do 9 to 5. All these things are acceptable. The shorter the feeding period, the better the improvement in insulin resistance. So we'll talk about insulin resistance another time. The next step is absolutely no food after 7 p.m. other than the tea and the coffee I just discussed. No sugary items after 7 p.m. No heavy calories after 7 p.m. Try to fast from 7 p.m. to 11 a.m. So you can kind of incorporate both intermittent fasting and the low carb, higher protein diet together. Next step is anti-inflammatory diet. Berries, mixed berries or raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, very good source of antioxidants and anti-inflammatory. Second thing is oily fish like salmon, excellent source of omega-3, or mackerel, sardines, tuna, etc. Also, nuts like walnuts are a very good source of omega-3. They are very anti-inflammatory too. Garlic and ginger, we use these on a regular basis. Add a little bit more for the anti-inflammatory effect. Green leafy vegetables like spinach, excellent source of antioxidants and very high anti-inflammatory property. Now the next step is something working mothers you don't want to hear much, but cook your own food. Over the weekend or when you get a day off, cook your own food, freeze them, refrigerate them, use them in portions, but cook your own food from scratch. Try not to eat from out more frequently than once or twice a month. Try not to eat a lot of fast food. I know it's hard when you have children, when you are multitasking. When you wear too many hats that you can't handle, it's very difficult. But try as much as you can to make your own food. The next step is stop eating all these breakfast cereals, oatmeals, sugary breakfast items. They are not really good for your health. They spike your sugar levels, spike your insulin levels, and you will eventually develop insulin resistance and you will gain weight. And to reverse all these things, you have to put a tremendous effort into it. So best thing is, don't eat all these sugary cereals, other sugary based breakfast items like pancakes. Avoid them. And the next step that I tell all my patients is buy an exercise bike. You know, exercise bikes are relatively inexpensive. I'm not talking about big Peloton bikes and stuff. A small exercise bike that will give you amount of miles you biked, or the number of miles you biked, amount of calories you spent. They are compact, and do not take them to your basement where it's always cold. Keep them in your living room and use them. You know, when you watch TV, sit on the exercise bike and try to pedal. Best time to do exercise, I tell patients, is after dinner. You came home from long days of work, and you ate a big meal and you want to get rid of all those calories. So sit on an exercise bike after dinner. You may want to wait like 30 or 45 minutes after dinner, or up to an hour, and you can bike slowly if you want to, and bike faster when you get used to it. Over the weekends you can do more, but keep your exercise bike in your living room. And the next step is, always patients ask me, is artificial sugars okay? I would say if you have to choose lesser of the two evils, between artificial sweeteners or between real table white sugar, choose artificial sweetener. Now, some studies showed that artificial sweeteners can raise insulin resistance because they do create a sugary environment in the body, which gives cues to the brain, and the brain indirectly causes insulin resistance to go up. They are working on obtaining more information regarding this. Until we know further, if you really have to use, you can do artificial sweeteners. Like I said, choose lesser of the two evils. So to recap everything, starting from the beginning, the steps that we took: first, find body composition and find how much excess fat mass you have. Second, differentiate between good and bad foods, and do not buy bad foods. Drink 64 ounces of water. Third step. Fourth step, add some lemon juice to your water daily. Fifth step, try intermittent fasting. And more details on intermittent fasting are available everywhere. You can ask me. Next step, absolutely no food after 7 o'clock. Make it a habit. Make it a rule in your house. Discipline yourself not to eat after 7 p.m. Take anti-inflammatory diet. I explained: berries, green leafy vegetables, oily fish like salmon. Next step, cook your own meals from scratch. Try to avoid a lot of restaurant eating or a lot of fast food eating. Next step, stop breakfast cereals, oatmeal, breads, donuts, etc., which are very detrimental to our health. The second last step is buy an exercise bike and keep it in your living room and use it. And the last step is avoid table sugars, absolutely, but if needed, use artificial sweeteners. Now, one last thing I want to talk to you about is sleep. Everyone has to sleep 8 hours a night, nightly. Those who do not sleep well, those who in fact sleep between 5 and 8 hours, tend to gain weight when compared to those who sleep 8 hours, given the same amount of calories. So try to sleep 8 hours every night. Now, when you go to bed, before you close your eyes, have a food plan for next day. We plan our life in our workplace the next day. We plan our kids' life. We plan our retirement fund. A lot of thoughts come through our mind before we sleep. Plan our food too. We plan about what to wear the next day even, right? So plan about what you will eat the next day before you go to bed. Now, most of all, consistency is the key. You have to be consistent. All diets succeed and all diets fail. If you're consistent, the diet that you follow will work for you. Now, one more thing, do not set a date to start. This is not like quitting smoking or quitting some bad habit. Well, bad diet is a bad habit, but our body listens to the now phenomenon, the now order, the now discipline. Start now. So do not set a date to start. Start today. Today is the day to start a disciplined diet. Hope this helped you. So more coming very soon. Thank you.